Hello and welcome to Wyoming Watch from the Wyoming Tribune Eagle. I'm Noah Zahn, your state government reporter here. On Wednesday night, a grass fire sparked south of Cheyenne, and with wind gusts reaching between 70 and 80 miles per hour, the flames spread quickly and burned a total of 565 acres over just a few hours. It led to the evacuation of nearby residents to South High School as well. So this week on the podcast, our local government reporter Alyssa Tolman speaks with Aaron Veldheer, who is a chief deputy with Laramie County Sheriff's Office, about the response to that fire. Here's that conversation now.
So just to start us right off, when did the first call come in to report the fire?
The first call came in about 4:25 in the afternoon. But we also had a deputy in the area who saw it and had it reported to him and was airing it to dispatch, so they were pretty much simultaneous.
And then how quickly after that did the emergency personnel respond?
Well, we had law enforcement on scene almost immediately, and Laramie County Fire District 1, their Station 2 is on Terry Ranch Road, so they're maybe a mile and a half, 2 miles from the scene. So guys and gals, first responders got there very fast. And then
go ahead.
I was going to say, but with the winds blowing this fast, I've heard 90 miles an hour. I don't have that anything verified, but it was one of the windiest times I have ever been in, So it's with that type of wind, it's hard to catch up.
Yeah, I was actually there taking photos, and I actually spoke with the National Weather Service meteorologist this morning, who said it was 77 mile per hour wind gusts at 4:30.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not gonna. They're the experts, and I couldn't tell you. I've never stood at 90 really, but 77 is plenty strong.
It was. When I was out there trying to get the photos, my car was rocking back and forth. I had to park on the side of the interstate because obviously we couldn't get anywhere near the actual site, and I was pretty scared actually at how much my car was rocking. I couldn't even get out to take the photos. I had to roll down the window to take them.
Oh wow!
It was definitely unmanageable for sure. So I did speak with, I think his name is Ben Hopkins, earlier today, the Laramie County Fire District 1 interim assistant chief, and he did tell me that the fire was caused by a spark coming off of a power line. Is that confirmed? Because I think we've also heard things about arson or things of that sort. They're just kind of hearsay, but do you know exactly what caused it?
I do not. I know our detectives are looking into it, and I don't have any updates right now from them. But I know they were still doing their investigation earlier today. Did not suspect anything criminal, but I don't know, and I have not been told anything further than that.
Okay, gotcha. I think the speculation is that it was just a spark coming off a power line, but I didn't know if that was confirmed or not. But it was a huge fire, so
yes,
very big. But I guess that also is mostly because of the wind. I don't have too much experience with grass fires because I'm not from here, but from my perspective, it seemed like a very severe situation.
It was, I guess in total size, it wasn't a huge fire. It was only about 565 acres total. Just for the listeners, so an acre is about the size of a American football field, so 110 or 120 yards by 50 yards.
Right.
So 565 of those, it's a lot still, but it was very long and very narrow. On our Facebook page, we put a picture of the burn scar. So it stretched out over a couple miles, so that's why it's it's so big. And grass fires are very unique because they burn hot and fast, and they don't always go in a straight line. Fire will pick the path of least resistance, and it'll go that way. And maybe in some points 100 yards wide, and some points it might only be 10.
Yeah. So it was. Yeah. I mean I saw it, and I saw that there were also, when I was there, it wasn't even that it was just one giant fire, I guess what I would describe it as. There was a bunch of small spots as well. Do you know how many?
I don't know how many. That's called spotting. So as the fire grows and moves, it's kicking up sparks and embers, and they start new fires. And that's why we were very lucky, very blessed actually, that the rain and snow squall kicked in, and there was a slight wind change, which gave the firefighters the opportunity to get, really in front of it and protect those houses.
Yeah.
And so that was great. My honest, fear when I got down there, because it was, very early in it, we were just starting to evacuate, is that we were going to have a replay of what happened in Boulder, Colorado 4 or 5 years ago. It was right around New Year's, but they lost, I don't know how many hundred houses, due to a very similar red flag wind situation. And I don't know what caused that one, but, a small grass fire just went poof, and, hundreds of families are out of their home.
Yeah. And I keep citing it because I was there, and I saw, as I was driving down the interstate towards when the first call came in on our police scanner, I think it said that it was heading toward the fireworks stand, or that it might head toward the fireworks stands down there. But it actually ended up changing directions and was going toward all of those houses down there. When I saw it happening, I was like, oh, I don't know how quickly fire moves, like, and it might sound silly in sort of like a miles per hour sense, but yeah, it did make me panic when I saw it moving toward that neighborhood.
Absolutely. And it can move at different speeds at different times of the day, depending on what's going on. And I'm getting a little over my skis here, but I'm not a fire expert, but I know that it tends to lay down at night and not move as much. It's slower.
Okay.
With higher humidity, it moves slower. So that's why if it was 90 degrees and there's no humidity, and it's going to go a lot faster.
Right.
There's different things. And then the fuel type that it's on, is it on grass, sagebrush, pine trees versus, cottonwood trees, and those types of different fuel, all of that factors in. But what we had yesterday with 77 mile an hour winds, it's gonna rip wherever it goes.
Yeah. And so many people responded to this fire. We saw the list of all the departments, and I think that someone told me every single fire station in the county was there, about 100 to 120 people on the scene. What kind of effort goes into this coordinated response process, I guess? How do you gather all of these people so quickly and get them to the spot they need to go?
We're blessed here with great first responders. A lot of our fire districts, there's multiple fire districts in the county. They're staffed by volunteers. So those are people that dropped absolutely whatever they were doing, everything, to come here and help the citizens that the homes were threatened. Our dispatch center, they did a fantastic job of toning out, radioing out, calling out, however you want to put it, the resources. We had every fire district in the county had representation there. And then not only that, is those fire districts also have to still staff their people. So District 5 or District 3 came out of Elbin or Pine Bluffs. They had people go back and remain available in that area, because the last thing you want is another fire to pop off, or a medical emergency, or a car crash or something. So not only do we have every fire district there, but they relied heavily on their volunteers to come in and staff these stations, so that the citizens in Elbin still had help if they needed it.
Yeah. So and then I think the emergency personnel, they were patrolling overnight to make sure no spot fires broke out. Are they still out there right now, or did they leave earlier today?
To the best of my knowledge, I was out there this morning. They're definitely out there, but to the best of my knowledge, they are still out there.
Okay.
There's still hot spots, so if people see anything, flare-ups, just get a hold of 911, and they'll have a crew over to them real fast. I think right now what they've got out there are a lot of the brush trucks. So those are apparatus that are designed specifically for fighting grass fires and brush fires. It'd be like an F-350 with special equipment on it, and they can respond relatively quick to these areas.
Gotcha. And then we also heard some firefighters may have been injured. true, or do we have an update on that?
Yeah, there was bumps and bruises.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is, and I don't know what caused it. So I saw one firefighter had bloody nose and black eyes. So it could have been from blowing debris. I know my car door almost caught me in the face, trying to open it in that gusty wind.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if it was, something like that, or they, how it happened. Who knows? He could have been training or something before he came to the fire and he showed up like that.
Yeah.
But I know that there were several just people that give bumps and bruises. You're moving as fast as you can over uneven terrain, carrying a bunch of stuff. So we all trip now and then. So who knows how? But there were no serious injuries. There were, very blessed that nobody died. Nobody. Everybody that did escape or evacuate, we did it in a while panicked. They did it, very efficiently and orderly.
Yeah. So nobody was, other than the firefighters, just their standard injuries, was hurt, like residents or pets or other emergency personnel?
Not that I know of.
Okay. The next question that I have is, it deviates a little bit from the fire itself, but it's kind of something that's on the top of everyone's mind, especially recently, and you might not exactly know the answer to this question, but a lot of the responders, obviously, that showed up are special districts that are fully funded by property taxes. And we know, and you might know, there's a lot of things happening with property tax changes recently, even something the legislator is thinking about getting rid of them completely. So how do you see something like that affecting the response when it comes to this sort of, I guess, natural disaster happening in the future if those things were cut?
It's kind of a minefield of a question you ask, but I'm not up to speed current, as to what legislators are proposing for, I guess, the 26th session. But we've got to make sure that we fund and support our local first responders. And one thing we commonly heard last year, because I spent time in the legislature when they were going through last year's budget discussions, it's tighten the belt and do all that stuff. A lot of these, in fact, most of these volunteer agencies around the state, their belt doesn't get any tighter. They're already operating on a shoestring budget. They are, the Wyoming way of mastering, they might not have the proper equipment, but they're going to figure it out and we're going to get it done. But we can only do that so long, and you can't do that with the PPE, the protective gear, that type of stuff. Anytime you go into fire, like a structure fire, there's all kinds of toxic, carcinogens in there. We don't want our firefighters to get hurt or, get cancer from doing what they love to do, but also saving us.
So just my last question for you is, going forward, after I spoke with the meteorologist at the National Weather Service, he told me obviously we're under a high wind warning until I think 5 a.m. Saturday. So from now to then, and I guess beyond, honestly, what precautions should people take to avoid another fire?
There's a lot they can do. I think right now, as we're doing this interview, I think we're under a red flag warning, which means very low humidity and high winds. And if a fire cooks off, it's going to go like it did yesterday. We were very lucky all summer. Had nice green grass and green fields, but now all that's brown in a matchbox. So whatever, don't have outdoor fires. Don't set off fireworks. I know New Year's is coming, so a lot of people are going to want to set off fireworks. Please don't, because it can be very problematic. With at 12:15 on January 1st, we're having to go out and do a bunch of evacuations and all that, because it won't take much to get a fire. And had we lost one house yesterday in that subdivision, we would have lost the whole subdivision, just because of the energy that comes off the one house fire. It's just gonna like a row of dominoes.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, and that's, nobody wants that. Nobody, we don't want to, be arresting people for celebrating the New Year because they think they're doing something harmless with fireworks, but we may have to look at that in the totality depending on what happens.
Yeah, right. And actually, I forgot to ask earlier, and you reminded me when you talked about if a house fire were to happen. There was no property damage except for I think there was one greenhouse that I heard was.
Yep.
Was it damaged completely, or is it just kind of like burn marks on the side of it, or is it gone?
Oh, I think it's gone.
Okay.
There's some houses down there. I don't know if they got burn marks, but everybody smells like they've been in a campfire.
Uh-huh.
So there's going to be, not smoke damage, but a lot of smoke around, in and around all the houses down there.
Oh, okay. And then the fire, it came up right next to some of the houses, didn't it? But it didn't touch them?
Nope, didn't hit them, but it was very close. Closer than anybody wants a fire to be.
Right. And I'm wondering, how is that possible? How did that happen? Were there people there that were fighting it as it was moving towards the houses, or was it kind of just like it went out right at the right time?
No, the firefighters were down there and working their tails off. Like I said, that's where they're running around, and they could trip because they're carrying stuff, and they're just working as hard and as fast as they can. Those guys put in a lot of work yesterday and really went above and beyond to save those homes.
Yeah, and I can tell it seems like it. Just from seeing it from afar, everybody all hands on deck type situation, and it was pretty quickly. Wasn't it out by, was it 7:30?
We had it contained by about 6:30.
Oh, okay.
So containment means that it's still burning, but we have a proper fire line all the way around. And then so you kind of let it burn towards the middle, burn towards itself.
Right.
And the simplest way to put it, it is. I don't know if we can probably call it out now. That's a fire terminology, fire question. But if they're just doing hot spots and mop up, then for all intents and purposes, we call it out.
Okay, awesome. Okay, well, those were really the questions that I had for you. But do you have anything else you want to say before I let you go?
No, I appreciate everybody's help and the community support. It's a great thing.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you so much for talking to me about this today.
Hey, no problem.
You have a good day.
Now, here's our arts and entertainment reporter Taylor Staples to bring you a roundup of some upcoming events in Cheyenne and Laramie County this week.
Today, December 19th, there's a dementia caregiver support group from 2 to 3 p.m. at the library, a Paint Your Pet fundraiser from 6 to 8 p.m. at Fly Dragon Studio, a showing of the Nutcracker Ballet at 7 p.m. at the Cheyenne Civic Center, and it's the final weekend for Cheyenne Little Theater Players Miracle on 34th Street at 7 p.m. at Mary Godfrey Playhouse. Miracle will also play at 7 p.m. tomorrow night and have their last showing at 2 p.m. on Sunday. On Saturday, December 20th, there's the annual Cheyenne Audubon Christmas Bird Count. The main bird count will take place at the downtown Cheyenne Post Office at Capitol Avenue at 8 a.m., and later there will be a tally at Barb Gorgeous's house at 6 p.m. Contact her at barbgorgeous4@msn.com for the address. Then there are 2 free Breakfast with Santa events at both 8:30 a.m. and 10 a.m. at the Event Center at Archer, as well as the weekly Winter's Farmers Market from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. inside the Cheyenne Depot, as well as a Merrymakers Market from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Frontier Mall, and a Sip and Shop Holiday Market from noon to 5 p.m. at Blacktooth Brewery. Then, the Nutcracker Ballet is playing again at 2 p.m. at the Cheyenne Civic Center, and there's also an indoor drive-in for Nightmare Before Christmas at 7 p.m. at the Archer Event Center. On Sunday, December 21st, the day starts with a Santa send-off at the Cheyenne Regional Airport at 9:30 a.m. and a candy sale at the Mount Sinai Synagogue downtown from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. There's also the Merrymakers Market again from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Frontier Mall, and a cat pottery painting event from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Cats and Coffee Connections Cafe. And on Tuesday, December 23rd, there are genealogy help drop-in times from 2 to 4 p.m. for adults at the library. There are currently no events listed on either Christmas Eve or Christmas. For more events, go to wyomingnews.com/calendar and have a safe and happy holidays.
And finally, before we close out today, here's a recap of some of our top stories and headlines from the past week. 3 teens have been charged as adults following a gun sale gone wrong that resulted in the death of 18-year-old Vincent Gardea. Gardea was fatally shot last month during an alleged physical altercation with 17-year-old Draheem Turner. Following 3 fatal crashes across the state, the Wyoming Highway Patrol says fatalities on the state's roadways in 2025 now total 116 people. According to a series of news releases received by the Wyoming Tribune-Eagle on Tuesday, crashes near Lander and in Crook County and in Laramie County resulted in 5 deaths in just a week. After only a few of the proposed 45 election bills made it to the governor's desk after the 2025 legislative session, many spearheaded by Secretary of State Chuck Gray, Gray is back with more proposed election reform bills ahead of the 2026 session. On Thursday, he hosted a press conference at the Wyoming State Capitol to discuss his top 5 legislative priorities. And lastly, former Pine Bluffs Mayor Justin Fornstrom was sworn into office on Tuesday as the newest member of the Wyoming legislature. The appointment comes 1 month after former Representative John Eklund passed away on November 14th at the age of 74 following a cancer diagnosis. That's all for this week's episode of Wyoming Watch. Thank you for tuning in, and next week, hope you all have happy holidays between now and then, and we will still be having an episode coming out next Friday. You can listen to it whenever you get the chance.